children, today I am ready to explain you the second part of respiratory system. That means you can know about breathing, you can know about certain muscles which help us in breathing, and also what happens during exercise while we are exercising, and even how is the air transported within our body, such things. Okay. Now, so breathing means taking in air as well as releasing out air. So breathing means just the movement of air from our surroundings into our body, that is breathing. Now there are certain terms which you have to know. Terms like inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling means INHALING. Inhaling means taking in air, that is oxygen. Exhaling means EX, same HALING, same spelling but EX. Exhaling means removing out waste air, sending out the waste air. The air we have taken in is used up and the waste air, that is carbon dioxide, is again released outside, that is exhaling. Now the process of inhaling is called as inhalation or inspiration, and the process of exhaling means removing out air is called as exhalation or expiration. Okay, these are the certain terms, they are very easy, just the spellings you can see. Inhalation means INHALATION. Same goes with exhalation, only thing instead of in you have to put XEX. Now inspiration INSPIRATION. Now what happens during inhaling? While we are inhaling, what happens, or else what happens during inspiration? Our lungs expand. Lungs are elastic in nature, right? They have the capability to expand and to come back to normal position. So lungs, they become big, they expand to get filled with the air. And now another new term, diaphragm. See, DIAPHRAGM. Diaphragm is the name of a muscle which plays very important role in respiration. So see in the picture, now this you can imagine, these are our lungs and these are the muscles and ribs surrounding our lungs. This is basically our thoracic cavity. See, thoracic, THORACIC. Thoracic cavity is nothing but chest cavity which has heart and lungs. Now here, where is our diaphragm? Now this dome shaped structure. See, it is in the shape of a dome, convex. This is convex, right? And this is concave. This is convex, dome shape. See, it is like a dome. So this is the location of the muscle called as diaphragm. Now its shape varies according to our inspiration and exhalation. It gets flatter and also it again becomes dome shaped. So we are talking about inhalation now. So during inhalation, diaphragm gets flattened, it becomes more flatter. Now here it is dome shaped. So during inhalation it gets much more flatter. See, it is flat, the dome shape slowly becoming flat. Why? To increase the space inside the thoracic cavity, right? So when the diaphragm gets flattened, we call that process as contraction. CON, contracts. Contracts means it is contracting, the muscle is getting contracted. We call it as contraction. CONTRACTION. That process is called as contraction, becoming flatter. It happens during inhalation or when we are inhaling. Now see, all these things are related to inhalation. What happens during exhalation while we are removing that carbon dioxide outside, while we are releasing it? This process gets reversed. Reverse means lungs move inward, and also diaphragm, it becomes into dome shape. That flat muscle, it again takes its dome shape, and we can say that diaphragm relaxes. Opposite of contraction is relaxation. So diaphragm relaxes and chest cavity gets smaller, because all the chest muscles, our body is made up of muscles and bones, right? So there are muscles even in our chest cavity also. So those chest muscles move inwards. While we are inhaling, they move outwards. While we are removing air, they move inwards. Chest muscles, see these blue things I have written are indicate chest muscles, they move inwards. Lungs get smaller. Now, so diaphragm can be called as a flat muscle or a dome shaped muscle. Just remember one point, dome shape means in a relaxed state. The muscle is a relaxed state, it is not doing any work. Whereas flat means in contracted state. Now, so now we know that chest wall is made up of ribs, the black color, ribs, muscles, this chest muscles and diaphragm, muscles and skin. Okay. Now, so how is the air entering and how is it exiting? Is it happening automatically? Now here a physical process happens. Physical process means physics, means see, we know that movement of air is from high pressure to low pressure, right? Air moves in a direction, in which direction? From high pressure to low pressure. So when the lungs are expanded, when the lungs are in expanded state, air comes inside. Why? Because if the cavity becomes big, the pressure in that chest cavity comes down. Okay, so comes down when compared with the air pressure outside our body. So air immediately gets pushed inside. Now while that air is entering inside, that only we are calling it as inspiration. Now the lungs are filled with air. Now what happens? Now the air pressure inside the lungs is more compared to the air pressure in our surroundings. So now what happens? The air again, it gets pushed away from the lungs. So that is what we are calling as expiration. So it's just nothing but the pressure of air and also the help of chest muscles. So chest muscles and air pressure play an important role in our inspiration and expiration. Now, exercise. Athletes and even people who are going to gym. Now if we do any exercise, even in your school drill, what happens? We generally start to breathe faster. We breathe faster, right? Why? Because during any kind of exercise, our body works more. It needs more energy, it takes up more energy. Energy, from where is energy produced? Just yesterday we have, in the part 2 we have discussed, energy is released only with the help of oxygen. Oxygen is essential to produce energy. I have mentioned it already. So exercise needs more energy, means more oxygen is needed. So to take in more oxygen, we breathe faster. We breathe faster. So this is what happens during exercise, that inspiration expiration process happens faster. Now see, what is the ultimate goal of inspiration and expiration? Why are we taking in air and why are we releasing? Why this process happens regularly throughout our life? Why? Because see, there is blood in our body, right? Blood transports all the nutrients, let it be vitamins, minerals and also oxygen throughout our body to all the cells in our body, right. Why? The cells need these vitamins, nutrients and also oxygen. So, the blood plays a major role here. If there is no proper amount of blood, even if we take in oxygen, there is no delivery, there is no transport of the oxygen from our lungs to the tissues, right. That is why. So, blood, we have to talk about blood here. So, blood is there in our circulatory system. What is our circulatory system? A circulatory system has arteries and veins. Arteries, they carry the blood which is filled with oxygen, means that is pure blood, and veins, they carry the blood that is filled with carbon dioxide, means all used up, it is, we can call it as a waste, impure blood, impure is the right term. So, arteries pure blood, veins impure blood. Now, I have mentioned that arteries and veins, they divide into many branches, many smaller branches and finally form tiny net like capillaries, many small blood capillaries, right. And even we already know that each alveoli in the lung has supply, blood supply. It is supplied with, alveoli are tiny structures, right. So, for tiny structures, who is giving the blood supply? Blood capillaries, So, from that air sac means alveoli here, alveoli, whatever oxygen is there, it is given to the blood capillary. And the capillaries are of two types, venules and arterioles, both, which carry pure and impure blood, right, that we know already. And carbon dioxide from the blood, it enters the alveoli. Lung tissue is made up of alveoli, air sacs. So, now these alveoli, they have tiny blood vessels everywhere surrounding them. Okay. Now, oxygen from the air sac, it comes inside the blood vessel, whereas carbon dioxide from our entire body through our blood vessels, it enters air sac to be released outside. Okay. Now, this is the process. So, generally what is our lung capacity? It is 5800 ml is our lung capacity. So, for athletes, if we see athletes and acrobats, people who who do exercise and such things, they use their lung capacity completely. In general we won't use all our lung capacity. For instance, while we are in a resting state, while we are not working anything, if we are simply sitting, simply taking rest, when there is no much physical strain, our lung capacity is 500 ml, because it expands only to take just 500 ml of air. Okay. So, when we work, when there is lot of exercise and such athletic work, the lung capacity is, that is the maximum, more than that we can't take in air. So, 5800 ml of air can be filled in our lungs. A proper grown adult capacity is that. Now, and some people will be having diseases related to respiratory system. So, in them what happens? To the lung capacity? It gets reduced a lot, right? Asthmatic patients who can't breathe, who are having tumors related to respiratory system and who are hypersensitive, who get cold a lot, and pneumonia type of patients, their lung capacity is very reduced. Means what? They won't get enough supply of oxygen, right? So, that is why we all are recommended to have good exercise. If we exercise and keep our body fit, our lung capacity can be fully used. We can take good amounts of oxygen and we can stay healthy, right? To stay healthy along with food, we need good air also, pure air. Now, okay, now we know that air entered our body through certain pathways which I have discussed earlier, and from those pathways, how is the air entering lungs, that also we know, and we already know what happens after air enters lungs. It comes into the blood. Now, how is it getting transported in our body? See, oxygen. Now, in the blood there are blood cells and hemoglobin, right? Hemoglobin is a blood pigment. It is a pigment. Pigment means color. It is present in our blood. Hemoglobin is red in color. That is the reason our blood takes the color red, right? So, this oxygen, it binds, means it combines, it joins with hemoglobin present in our blood, and it becomes oxyhemoglobin. Hb means hemoglobin. It is the red pigment present in the blood, HeaMoglobin. It is made up of proteins only, proteins and pigment. So, HbO2 means oxyhemoglobin, means this hemoglobin got attached with the oxygen molecule. Now, in that oxyhemoglobin form only, oxygen gets transported to all our body cells, right? So, that is our oxygen. Now, coming to carbon dioxide. See, we take in oxygen and we keep releasing out which gas, which thing? Carbon dioxide, right? CO2, carbon, di means 2, di means 2, dioxide. Now, from where is carbon dioxide produced? Within our cells. Cells are there, no? Inside our cells, when the oxygen is being used up, energy is released. Along with energy, a waste product also comes out. That is called carbon dioxide, right? That we know. So, carbon dioxide, it does not attach to hemoglobin. Very little attaches to hemoglobin, but most of it in the blood plasma, it gets transported in the form of bicarbonates. BICARBONATES, bicarbonates. So, oxygen means oxyhemoglobin, carbon dioxide means in the form of bicarbonates, it is transported in the blood. Now, so yeah, the blood contains cells, blood cells, that is RBC, WBC. That RBC contain this hemoglobin pigment, and along with cells there is some fluid, right? Blood flows, no? It is not a solid, it flows from one place to another. It means some liquid also should be present. What is it called as? It is called as blood plasma. PLASMA, blood plasma. So, this carbon dioxide chooses this plasma, while oxygen chooses hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is present in red blood cells, RBC. This carbon dioxide gets transported by combining with plasma, and a little some part of carbon dioxide combines with Hb also, very little, but mostly through plasma in the form of bicarbonates. So, this is how our gases are getting transported. Main terms here you have to remember are oxyhemoglobin in relation to oxygen, bicarbonates in relation to CO2. Now here let us know what is the percentage of gases. See, I am using the term we are taking in oxygen, like that I am telling you. But are we taking pure oxygen? Is the air we are breathing has only oxygen, 100% oxygen? No, never. See, there are certain percentages in the air we breathe. If the air is not too much polluted, if the normal air, normal fresh air has 21% oxygen and 0.04% carbon dioxide. Comparatively, carbon dioxide percentage is less than oxygen in the air we are taking in. But now coming to the air we are releasing outside, it has comparatively less. 16 is less than 21 now, so 16% oxygen, 4% carbon dioxide. Okay. So, even the air which we are releasing outside has oxygen. It is not pure carbon dioxide, it has some levels of oxygen, but lesser than the air, lesser than in the air we are taking in. So, 16. So, the pure air has 21% oxygen and 0.04% carbon dioxide, but the air which we release outside has 16% oxygen, 4% carbon dioxide. Now, there is also another gas present in the air along with oxygen, carbon dioxide. There is something called as nitrogen, right? This one, this nitrogen, it has a lot of significance in our body. How? To build our body, what is the food we need? Protein food, right? So, proteins, to produce proteins, this is very essential, nitrogen. So, you can remember this like that. Now, this nitrogen is present in gaseous form. In proteins, it is present in a different form, nitrates, urea, like that. In air, it is present in gas form, not solid form but gas form. So, even nitrogen enters our body, and while we are releasing out air, the same nitrogen which we breathed in, we breathe it out. The body won't take it up. Okay. Generally in air there is 79% nitrogen. We breathe the same percentage and we remove the same thing. So, there is no much issue about nitrogen. We are interested about oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now, another important thing is about altitudes, means heights. See, generally if you move to hill stations, what happens? Hill stations are comparatively higher in altitude, right? We go for tours sometimes, then we experience hill stations are cool and comfortable, but the oxygen level slowly reduces while we are climbing up a mountain, while a person is trekking a mountain climber for mountaineers, means professionals who climb mountains, they know this. And even if we see them in pictures, they will be packed with oxygen cylinders on their back. Without oxygen cylinder, they don't climb, right? Why? Why is it happening? While we go away from sea level, higher away from sea level. Sea level means our beaches, seashores will be there, no? From that level, the height is measured. So, mountains and hill stations, they are comparatively higher when you compare them with our normal plateaus and plains, means they are at the same level in which the sea is present, but mountains, hill stations, all they are in higher level. So, when you keep on increasing in height, then oxygen levels in air, they fall down, that is why oxygen cylinders and all such things. And practically, if we talk in aeroplanes, if you have travelled in aeroplanes, what happens? Can we open windows in aeroplanes like we open in a bus or car? No, we are not allowed to open, because it is a pressurized chamber inside. Why? Because in such high altitudes, altitude is nothing but height, children, okay? In such high altitudes, the oxygen level is low, oxygen level is very less. When oxygen level is low, can we breathe? Can we stay active? No, we will become giddy and we will fall down, right? So, to protect us, what they will do? They will keep pressurized chambers. All the windows in the airplanes are sealed tightly. air from outside, it doesn't enter inside. But still we can breathe inside aeroplanes. How? There is a mechanism. With the help of machines, the people, the passengers inside aeroplane are supplied with much pure air, means air which contains more percentage of oxygen when compared to in the general air we breathe. Generally in our surroundings 21%, right? But in aeroplanes there is more, the percentage of oxygen is more, it is supplied like that to those passengers, right? So that is the reason. And so now these are the important points you have to remember. And again, you know, divers, not driver, diver, D-I, diver, this is R. Diver is a person who goes inside the sea, deep into the sea. Why? Generally we extract petrol and precious stones, oysters and many more things from the seabed, right, under the sea. So these are the people who get equipped well with oxygen, and they dive deep into the sea. So for them they come different problems related to nitrogen gas. Okay, now that is not included in our topic, but this is something which happens for divers, right? When they go deep into the sea, along with oxygen will be there, but nitrogen makes some issues in the body of divers. So this is about today's topic, about what is breathing, what are the muscles related, how is the blood, how is the oxygen and carbon dioxide entering and releasing out from blood, and certain percentages of oxygen and lung capacities. Okay. Now the continuation we will do it in the next part, that is part 3. Thank you children.